for me, so I'm going to provide this rather than what I want to be the one to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you can't be too masculine when you saying, well, shoot, I ain't sitting at home and taking care of no kids
Right.
and cooking and,
Real
and then you
masculinity
can't
is
be
going to
too
be feminine.
then you can't be too feminine. Like I'm the man, you don't. I'm doing this and you doing it. So it's almost like still you gotta know your
It
role.
has to be a balance. But then think about also think about how the TV show Bridezilla, and think about when the guys came on and the guy took over the whole wedding, and it was like almost it became his wedding, and then the female became like in the back seat. There's no me personally, there's not an imbalance. I just basically think that it's different personalities, and it just depends on what's gonna work for us. Like women, okay, so women have been working for their rights since like the 1800s, but we've been like trying to fight for like our rights. So I just understand how is it an imbalance if hypothetically speaking, she makes more than the guy.
Oh, I don't, I'm certainly not saying she shouldn't make as much money as she can. And if that means making more than him, I'm all for that too.
But you
What I'm
also want
saying
her to
is,
be a lady.
no, what I want us to do is to approach it with humility, and he has to approach it with humility. So the moment that pride starts thinking, well, I'm a breadwinner, why are you spending money on that stuff, bro? I work, what, 60 hours a week, and this way you spend the money? No, he's starting to feel like a kid, like he's being put on an allowance, like he's being, you know? So there has to be the constant humility and constant mindfulness. Otherwise, it's going to become like this aberration. It's going to start with.
And then the thing that caused that to mutate is her work environment. All her friends, her colleagues, are all women that of power, got money too, like that. So they may do things a little bit different. So now she's starting to see things from their perspective. So having a husband at home may be something that she really needs and wants, and they agreed on this. But what she sees every day with her colleagues puts her in a different mind frame. So things like that comes into play too. So it's a lot of different things that's approaching each person. He's going around his home, but he's driving. He used to have a vet, now he's driving a Quest. He got diapers, he got car seats in there and all that stuff. He can't hang out. All that changes. When that changes, the guys don't hang out as much, can't do everything they want to do with him or did do with him because he has to be home a certain time or he has to roll. So when all of those things change, you have to have an understanding between you and your mate on what's gonna happen, and how it's gonna happen, and y'all stick to it regardless of what outside forces come at it. It can't nitpick it or break away from it because once the crack get into the exterior, everything's gonna change.
So you're basically saying that a woman, if it's the woman who's the breadwinner, needs to be more mindful of her spouse.
Both of them do.
But then but that's wrong. Because if it was the other way around, if she was the homemaker and then the husband was the breadwinner, then he's not gonna be considered her like, okay, well, I have birthday at work and I'm going out with Bill and Bob to have a couple of drinks. And she's sitting here like, I've been home all day with these kids.
Yeah, but
So
the whole
why does the
situation,
woman-
I'm gonna cut you off, but the whole situation is like a flip flop because traditionally it's been men been a provider and stuff like women home nurturing. So when you take a flip flop and switch it around, it's something you have to get used to seeing before you can sit there and say have total comfortability and acceptance.
So the woman needs to be more submissive.
I did not.
But
wouldn't say that.
but you
I
are.
wouldn't say. I didn't feel that's a
But
really
no,
tricky.
no, but you are, because if you're sitting here saying that it's a concept, then it's basically stating that if I'm the breadwinner, I need to be more submissive to my husband to make my husband be okay with being the homemaker.
That's definitely not my opinion.
And I know that's not yours, but
Yeah.
this is what he said.
Well, I'm gonna turn around and put it like this. So I'm thinking that it's coming from childhood. Our boys are not being they're not being um groomed to be a provider and protector, to be like a working man. They're being groomed. They daddies and they mommies are, oh, come here, baby. They got them by the hand and they're forgetting to let go. Like they're not teaching these young men and these young ladies how to be in a position to where when they get older, that you understand that the man is head of the household. He's supposed to be head of the household. He's supposed to take care of his house, regardless of whether you're making more money. But see, money, power, respect. So yes, but that's what's really going on. Like people are forgetting when you have money, then you have power, and then a lot of times people forget the respect part, because a lot of these boys they'll take and they'll feel like I still want a mom, so they're okay with a woman taking care of them. They're looking at it as
It's a
um,
comment.
yeah, like I want this woman to be my protector, my provider. I'm just gonna lay here and basically let her take care of me. So a lot of these young men are allowing women to actually take care of them and not doing anything about as far as trying to be on top and be head of the household. Like really and truly, if you're not head of your household, if you're not making money, because the woman should always look at her man being head of the household, being a protector, being a provider. She should always look at her man like that. The minute you stop looking at your man like that, your relationship is over because you're not going to respect.
But what about where in current society you have more single parents, you have more single moms.
That's why.
So, but I mean, so basically these these kids are being shown like it's not really I'm not being taught that because my mom ended up being a single parent.
And a lot of times the man is being probably pushed out. He's probably being pushed away because a lot of times a woman, when she is making more, it's almost like a setup. You're gonna offer these black women more money, gonna give them positions, and then these black men we're gonna make it hard for them, especially if they don't been to prison or been in different positions to the point where we want them to look a certain kind of way. It's almost like society has set up our black men to always look weak, even in our eyes as a black woman. They want our men to look a certain kind of way to everybody, not just other people on the outside, but to the black queen. They want our black men not to look like the kings that they are. So they put in our eyes, we're gonna give you more money and you're better than him and you should you run a house, basically. We even let you run a house in the hood. We'll give you a house and then guess what? He can't come over here and stay with you. So
Section 8.
Look at all the decades, even with Section 8, where they'll say, yeah, we'll help you with the kids as long as no man is there.
Yeah.
But if the man moves in, we're gonna cut you off.
yes.
It's like a policy to break on for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's how society is set up. It's like in the hood, or in the, however you want to call it, the government will take care of the woman and kid, but then the government is like, man can't come here though. Why would you take away the man from his family? Because it takes two to
Great.
create.
But what about if the man, for whatever reason, has abandoned that family? And now the government is stepping in to take care of that household. So the government's basically saying, if you abandon household A, you can't come back. You've abandoned it. But then now you reconcile. Now you want him to come back in, but you can't because you went and you ran and you asked the government for assistance.
You ask for assistance when you need it, but whether or not they can reconcile should be between them. That shouldn't.
Yeah.
But no, but then the government is looking at it like, well, if you reconcile, then he needs to come get you, and he needs to put you where you need to look.
And if he has
Don't do it
income
off
for
of
that,
us.
then he would. But if he doesn't have that kind of income for whatever reason, and you don't even have to have a criminal record, just don't get a college degree,
Mhm.
and you can never get past it. You look around, you know, you're not gonna be in a position really to say, hey, I'll fund it this household. Maybe you'll need some help.
Well, get a trade or something. Something needs to be done where feel like you need to be on top as a man. Like he does. He needs to be the head of the household, regardless. Like, and he should be looked at as head of the household. Like, period. Like a lot of women start emasculizing the man because of the money, or sometimes maybe he was already head of the household and then lost his job. And instead of us having their back and saying, "Oh, it's okay, you can go out there and get another job. I got you until you get back on your feet." And he should still be up every day trying to still go be that. He should never want to be in a position where you are taking care of him. And if he is, for any reason, then he should be in a quick motion to go ahead and get back on his feet to provide and take care of his family. It should always be.
To me, that feeling is unnatural. I mean, that's just me. Maybe because I was raised by older, my grandparents, you know, but me just the thought of having just totally take care of me, if I can take care of myself. I mean, not, I'm healthy and all stuff, but just lounging around, just expecting her to do everything. I don't, can't see that. I can't see myself as being a complete man when it comes down to it, because my best example was saying my grandparents, even my dad, my mom had me when she was 14. My father was a little older. Um, and with that being said, he let her still go through college and all that stuff. Well, he just had a ninth grade education, and the role in the house never changed. Even when I was still there, my younger sister, everybody got out. Which I thought was impressive because that was my first example of seeing how those roles work. So even though my dad was at home with 8 kids sometimes, we had a big family. My mom had a bunch of sisters and cousins, so we didn't see him at home like he'll be like an at-home dad because he was going out doing the hustle, cutting wood, selling reefer, running liquor, whatever it took to take care of 8 kids. But it also they had more family involvement then too, so it wasn't all on one person to take that the weight of the blow of that situation with the kids. The mom had to go out and do work, or they both time to do everything because you had more family involvement. Now people move to different locations and just be them and maybe their kid and the baby daddy, and that may not work out. So now she's out there, she'll have no family. So a lot of those different things change to different structures of how people view things as well. So there's so many different angles to this. It's like an onion, has so many different layers. So even though we can pull each one off and expose it, it still have layers that come off of that layer, that layer that come off of it, because the situation is still just global. It hasn't done, it hasn't came to a full fruition yet, but it's still developing.
So here's the situation now is that childcare costs $600 a month. Let's say you have 2 kids that are too young for kindergarten. You could be looking at $1,500 a month for childcare. In a situation like that, if the mom makes better money, it makes sense for her to go out to work. And if the dad stays home with these kids, I mean, that's just in childcare alone, that's $1,500 that's not bleeding out of the house. And we think about all kinds of other things like quality of care. You know, you leave your kid at daycare, you know, never really comfortable with quality of care again. You know, by the time your kid is, you can have them learning their alphabet and all. If yours, you can pay attention to nutrition, their hygiene. You know, there's a lot of reasons why it makes sense for whoever is making more money to go and make more money, and the other one to stay home. But like I said, as long as they both recognize that these are just fulfilling the roles necessary to make the family work. It's not about who's power or who's more masculine.
Yeah. So does that mean that the man doesn't work at all, or how does that work?
That dynamic is going to have to be flexible. So depending on the children's age, when are you going to work? I mean, he could work an evening or a night shift if that's what's necessary to keep the family funded. Or maybe she like actually come home to her family and not have them go out the door when she comes. Because now she's coming home to the childcare job if need. And maybe she wants to actually come home and decompress with her husband.
So do they cause, is that like an imbalance? You know, like a woman, yeah, like.
Again, the interpersonal dynamic between them is gonna be, she makes the money. And as long as they can both remain humble about their roles and she does this is what's necessary, they'll be good. But the moment either his pride starts to be like, well, I'm sick of being in the house, or her pride is like, well, I make the money. If pride gets in there, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. And it's almost like every time it's like something, because I know, like, if you're a man, a lot of times you have a problem with just sitting at home. It ain't just the kids.
Oh,
it's just,
you'll be busy.
you know, like you want, you want to get out and you want to take care of the house. You should, especially if you've been brought up like that, you know, in that type of environment. You should want to get up and take care of your family, and then as a woman, she should want to take care of the kids or take care of her husband. It allows her to do that a lot easier if that's his thing that he's coming home, he's providing for them. Then it allows her job to be a lot easier too. And not saying that the woman gotta be the cook and the cleaner and take care of the babies. Like it has to be an equal balance, whatever suits y'all both. Like
I've given it a lot of thought, and I've concluded that best arrangement
So
during
you
the
finish already?
years when you're raising kids. My youngest is 19. During the years when you're raising kids, the ideal I think would be for the mom to get a part-time job. It lets her make some money of her own. It lets her get out of the house and have just non-child adult contact. It lets, it gives her an actual structured schedule. It lets her contribute financially to the home and still leaves her with, like, if she works maybe 4 hours, she still has enough time in her day to take care of all the work that's going to fall on her anyway. Even couples where both members go out to work, most of the work falls to the woman in the home anyway. That's just something that hasn't changed for the longest. So if that's going to be the case, at least she'd have more time to do it. And if she makes less money than him, okay, at least she gives him some money from him. So I've always felt like that would be ideal. Ideal is hard to get.
And we can talk about this all day long, but reality of it is when you look at reality shows on doctors, black women, Atlanta, whatever case, housewives, and then you have technological advances, and then females been more acceptable to going to college because their records are flawless. They're not getting in trouble. These young guys get in trouble when they're young, so they're not able to go to get scholarships and stuff like that. So women are advancing more, especially black women, in a lot of more technical fields and HR or in IT and being lawyers and being finance, especially in the finance field. So automatically the bar, they don't really have a bar on what you can and can't make. This young brother that got in trouble when he was 16 years old with a couple of friends on a joyride, he got a felony. He can't get that full ride to college. So he's working with his uncle, learning how to do plumbing. So now him and his uncle working, he maybe spent it off on that some kind of way. Now he's working for a big company. He got the skill from his uncle. The most he can make is a certain amount at that company, unless he's actually on it or he goes to school to get some type of degree. So it's gonna always be that type of situation as long as the judicial system playing the role that it's playing and the way things are basically are. I mean, it's just a turn of the tables or something.
So what about if the law kind of, like, because I feel like sometimes we always revert back to, and it's easy to go back to, so this young man had a rough start, and because of this start, now has some hiccup. But what about if there's no rough start, no hiccup? What about if you got a couple and she just makes more than you?
Okay.
Like, if she just makes more. And what I mean is, like, everybody knows, like, police officers, getting police officers, state troopers don't make it. State troopers start off making like 30 something. So you have a state trooper as a husband, and then you have a wife who, let's say, is an attorney. Two even jobs.
He's a teacher.
Yeah, like a teacher. You know?
I know what work, he does everything.
Yes, I met a guy once who worked at Chick-fil-A. He wasn't for me because he worked at Chick-fil-A.
You don't like Chick-fil-A?
I'm not gonna date somebody who works at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, the food is delicious.
I'm not gonna date somebody that works at Chick-fil-A.
somebody working at Chick-fil-A need to find somebody working at McDonald's.
But I'm just saying though, like, you have like people who work for like the city, the garbage guys. They don't make a lot. And then you have somebody who has a man and you got a wife who makes more. So I'm just saying, like, but there can there be an imbalance? Because if we're looking at like from an even playing field.
Say, can it be an imbalance
Can it
and
be-
still work?
Yes.
I think that it can, but I think that still the man has to be working towards being head of the household. A woman cannot take care of the family by herself and be head. Yeah, it's an imbalance that's not gonna work. Eventually, it's gonna fall apart. It's not a woman's job to be head of the household. I think eventually it's gonna fall apart. Or during the relationship, you're gonna have your cracks, you're gonna have your thing, your little things going on. It's gonna be some issues. There's gonna be some issues. It's not even set up for us to actually take care of the man and take care of the kids. We're not even emotionally set up for that. I think at some point um he has to at least show that he's trying to be head of the household, make more money. Even if he's taking and y'all putting together y'all pennies to get him in a position where he's providing and making more money, because it's all kind of things out here to do to make, more money. So I think he needs to put himself in a position to the point where he can take care of the family and make more money. I don't think that the woman should make more money the whole time. I think the man should put himself in a position at some point in it.
What about if he doesn't want? What about if he wants? What about if his goal is to be a homemaker? Like you have some gentleman out there where his goal is like, you're gonna still respect me. I'm the man of this household, but I'm gonna take care of this home. What happened? Like, is that an
You know what
imbalance?
happens there.
But let me.
But no, I'm just saying though, if you do have some men that
Yeah,
you have some men that don't that
I know a couple.
you have a man that is happy just taking care of home.
That comes with a
Yes.
consequence. That
Yes,
choice comes
it
with a
does.
consequence. The
Yes.
consequence is that she's not gonna really see him the way she would see a man who was playing more traditional role. Won't give him the same.
So what can it, okay.
What I wanted to say was, in modern professional America, you aren't really gonna be able to get his income up to her. If she's an attorney and he's a state trooper, you ain't getting his income up to her. Right. But it shouldn't be necessary. If he makes less than her, but he's going out there and he's doing his job, essentially it's a dangerous, difficult job. That's truly a masculine job. When he walks in the door, a man walks in the door. There shouldn't be an issue of who's in which role at home just because, her.
You're saying she should already know, and
Exactly.
he should already know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's again, come back down to humility. If his goal is to ensure that her interest and the family's interest are best served, and she trusts him with that, then she'll let him lead. Let him lead. The only time I think you should see issues with leadership is if she loses confidence in the leadership. He's saying, well, I want a Camaro and you can take the bus. Like if she sees where he's just going to serve himself. But if he's serving his family, I mean,
Yeah.
meets all.
Yeah. So he has to meet the need of whatever it is she's lacking.
Yes. And she has to be convinced that he's looking out for her best interest.
Like,
She will let him lead.
I see that as being this. Say she is working regular. She's coming home. Kids should be showing signs of prominence as far as education. The house should never be a certain kind of way. It just should be, everything should start to be
In order.
what she expected to be. That keeps that respect there. Like, I'm keeping this thing in order. I'll take a lot of pressure off from whatever the case may be. But if she come home from work and then she still has to do work, that's going to imbalance.
Even though he was there.
Even though he was there the whole time. I mean, first of all, she's gonna see him different. Number two, she's gonna see that he's not bringing up to the standards that she wants, and that seems like she's doing is extra work for her to do. They gotta come home to the actual work to do. It's gonna frustrate in the whole aspect. So it's gonna frustrate that whole situation. And then 9 times out of 10, he probably just chill. That's not even making it worse if she's working, see him on the couch, just chilling, versus doing something constructive. So it's also what she views him as doing constructively when she comes home.
So basically doing what she would.
But do more. He put a maybe twist in it. Maybe he's working on a garage in the back, or building something in his spare time while he's at home. Something adding to the home, or maybe adding addition to the home, or getting the walls and stuff. They're just doing other little stuff too, to still show some masculinity inside the home.
So if the woman is making more money, what else could the man do for the woman to let her know that he appreciates what she's doing and that I still got your back? Because see, this is what I see. If you got a lawyer and you got somebody that's not making as much money, what happens when if you are living beyond your means, like to where the woman is, you got a lawyer house. Let's just say you got a lawyer house and you only a state trooper or whatever, you're making that money. So what happens when she loses her job, she does something wrong, she loses her job, how do you step up to the plate to take care of what she's now built? Like, how does a man feel about now stepping up and taking care of this lawyer's position?
Well, it's- in the first place, they should have been managing money in a way where they're not living at the level of income they're bringing in. They should have definitely storing away for a rainy day. So they should be able to weather something like a job loss if they have been doing good money management to begin with. But in a situation like that, if he was home, she lost his pivot really quickly. She's taking a while to find something else. Say, hey, while your job hunt, stay home. I'm going out to work like right now. You can go out and earn as much as he can earn while she's, because a lot of those high level jobs are hard to replace. It could be months looking. Those months you need to get out there and do what you have to do immediately.
So
Always put your family's needs above yours. You will earn it this way.
So do you think this where the emotions from the woman come in at? Like now I done lost my job, now you sitting around here, you can't do what I was gonna do. I think the emotions like, cause I mean,
It should be frustrated, but like he said, if he shows he does quick damage control. Stay home, get yourself together, take a load off, and just look whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and get whatever I can from the
Good
job.
job to be doctor.
But that 2 jobs, I'm sorry for cutting you both off, but let's keep it realistic. What 2 jobs are you gonna go out and get that's gonna make the income equivalent?
It's not, but you're gonna have some
It's
type
gonna
of,
pay some bills.
and you're gonna see that all hope is not lost.
But now it's taking away time from which they was
Very
normally used to. So it's always, you have to have this certain balance, cause when, I mean, in couples, you still want that time. It's still a lot of things that you still have to.
When she loses her job, quality time goes out the window. We gotta pay bills at this point.
Why?
Quality time will come back when we get the finances.
She's already emotional stuff. She got some things going on over
If
there.
that lawyer income disappears from for me and they're like, baby, I'm gonna work 2 jobs now. You take your time on job hunt. Keep an eye on the kids while we do it, because I'll be working Uber when I'm not at work. I need to just, slow the rate at which we burn through our savings. And to do that, I have to maximize income. I'm gonna speak sometime in when we can, but right now, but I have to.
Okay, guys, so we got a comment. Yes, there is an imbalance when a woman makes more money because we were taught by tradition that a man should be the provider. A man insecurity starts to creep in, then he feels threatened. I so disagree.
I agree.
I so
I agree.
disagree.
I agree.
I'm sorry, I so disagree. Because of the fact of the matter that he already had those insecurities when we first started dating. So how did they just creep in? You had those, and this is what I mean by that, is that, what I mean by that is if I start out dating you from college, and I know that my degree is in engineering, and if your degree is communication, off gate, I'm gonna make more than you.
I always keep thinking about it. They're thinking, ooh, I love him, ooh, I love her, let's marry. That's what college kids think. And later on, it turns out that, hey, engineers make more money. And they discover it along the way. And don't let it be a case where now let's have some babies. Well, one of us can take care of the babies, and now he's home because that's what benefits the family most. But now he finds himself in a traditionally feminine role, and yes, those insecurities will start.
Yeah.
Think about it, in college, this man was stepping queue. He was doing all this stuff. He was head of the line and all that stuff. And now he's at home driving a Quest van and all that stuff. What? I think if they were insecurity.
Okay, so I was trying not to say this, but y'all know who Mark Wahlberg is?
Yes.
He drives a van. Vans are cute.
There's
So
a
let's not
flex.
just say quick.
There's a
He
certain
drives it.
flex.
He drives
When
a
a
van.
man drives a van, he can drive whatever he wants. It's a
Yeah.
different flex than we drive a
You
van.
have
So
to.
that's what you have.
Yeah.
It's a different flex.
We got car seats all out the back of it. Stickers with a bunch of kids on the back, stick figures.
I just want y'all to stop throwing shade to the minivan because it has been proven it's one of the most safest vehicles out there.
See, to me,
And that's when
to me,
he's gonna
that's
say,
the man.
that guy, talk
To me-
that thing. It's the safer. It's different
Yeah.
than your jackal.
To me,
And then that's gonna laugh.
as a guy, seeing some of my friends going from having farms to now driving vans, because then they got relationships and married and stuff like that, that's a stopping point. That's why I say vans. But that
Okay.
means that all that other stuff is over with.
We're not pretending anymore.
Yeah, we're not pretending anymore.
Oh, I agree with this. I agree with this. The imbalance also has to do with the woman having to always compromise about the things she do or say as to not hurt or make the man feel any less. When if the table was turned, that wouldn't be the case. I agree. Like
That's what I was
100%.
talking about, the constant need for humility on both sides.
Yeah.
Talking about.
Now that will be the case, but they have to meet have to meet in the middle and say this is what we're gonna agree on.
But-
I feel that.
Okay, but see, this is what I'm talking about though, and this goes back to what I was saying, and I'm so sorry. The husband had a bad day at work, and he wants to go out with his two coworkers and get some drinks just to knock off the bad day. He's not going to take into consideration that hey, my wife is home with these two toddlers, and one of the toddlers throughout the day don't really got a fever. But then he's going to think about I need to brush to get some steam off wherever that slogan is. And but then if it's the woman is expected to. This is why I say she's being submissive. She has to be submissive to kind of like bow down, but like you know what? Let me not hurt his feelings because he's been with the kids. That's where it's like that it shouldn't be that way. And this is why I say why do we as women, and I know that some of y'all gonna say it's because you're taught, but why do we as women, to a certain extent, have to kind of like bow down just a little bit to make the man feel like, oh, he's the man. Let's not disagree with his masculinity.
Well, with me, it's in my nature. If something is wrong with my kids, I don't want my husband to stay there with her while I go out. If I was working, that's one thing, but if I'm going out, I'm gonna choose to be with my child. I don't wanna go out while my child is at home with a fever. I want to be there for any of my kids, if they're not feeling, well. So I think it's in a woman's nature that she should wanna be there for her children instead of going out and making that decision. A man may make a different decision because he feels like you're gonna take care of your child. And unless he feel like you just not in position, he think, you ain't gonna be able to take care of the kids, he may choose to stay at home with the kids. But if he know that you're gonna take care of him, he gonna go to this meeting or go out with the boys and feel, gonna call you and the kids are and still have a good time. But I feel like for a woman, she should want to be there. That's
But
just
not
my
every
opinion.
woman wants to be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And I agree. But I agree. But I do know where there was a couple, he wanted the kids more than the wife did. Every time the child was sick, he called out of work. He didn't go to work. No, she didn't want the kids. She compromised. So it was like, I'm gonna give this to you, but these are yours.
They're yours.
They're yours. So I just come right back to it how I just feel like and it's nothing wrong with me, wrong with them at all. Once in a relationship. But I just basically feel that we have to cater and give too much to men.
I feel like in a healthy relationship, you do cater and you do give, you should be receiving at least as much. In the same way, in a traditional relationship, where it's like, okay, he's gonna go blow some steam with a friend, but I'm home with the kid. It's also a relationship where you should never have to be like, oh man, this midsummer the light bill just doubled. How am I gonna pay this? That question should enter your mind because it's taken care of for you. A lot of things should already be taken care of because and if the price of that is sometimes he's out. And by the way, that whole hanging out with colleagues after work is beneficial to his career growth too. It's not just showing up at the office. No, this is the reality.
And I get that. I get that part. But then only thing that I'm sitting here and I'm hung up on is that everybody kind of feels like, okay, well, you kind of to a certain extent, you have to cater to that man. And you kind of have to build him up But then we don't.
Relationship, it should be catering to you individually.
But yes, but then the thing about it is there's so many women that have to compromise, and there's so many women that are not made a priority and they're given an option because of the fact of the matter, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this.
You talk to your man and he's doing what he's supposed to, do the same thing. I make a lot of comments, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It's the nature of any union that each side has to change to make it work. You change a lot of things to make it work. In a healthy union, it's a deep person you do it because you love and respect the other person. That's all it is. So the whole time she's compromising, he's compromising too.
Gotta compromise together. Gotta compromise.
So
Okay. Moving on.
Yep. So, what's the solution you think to, oh, what you consider?
But just finish with me.
What do you think the solution to the imbalance, if it is one, or to at least making it better?
There is an imbalance, and I just feel like that solution is it depends upon that relationship, because each relationship is different, and it just depends on like what is stated about it is.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, it's just about it's it's about how you're gonna communicate and how you're gonna like handle that relationship. Because it goes like what we just stated. You may have a state trooper who's married to an attorney, and it may be okay, but then you may have like the person who's on Section 8, and it's like, oh no.
I feel like I have two answers. One is I think it's a black women are accomplishing and nothing should hold them back. We should put a lot of focus on our black boys early on to make sure that they're A, staying out of trouble, and B, chasing their education. And now, as these black women grow, these black men are going either with them or one step ahead of them and reaching back and holding hands, and they're going together. And then, great work. America will be a beautiful place. But for people who are currently in the situation, just focus on the well-being of your family more than on yourself. Give more than you're asking for. Humble.
I feel that, first of all, you have to recognize what the situation is. Then, once you see the imbalance, you dissect it as far as like you as a couple, when you make, break it down and see what parts of that whole imbalance work, what don't work, and then fix them as they come up. And at the end of the day, when you take that whole anomaly, let's say that imbalance, you've worked it out to a point where now it's a evolving situation. So if there's anything that's gonna be wrong with it, you pretty much got all the remedy for it right here. You talked about it, you've seen what you need to do, you know certain things you can and can't do when having this. And if there aren't any discrepancies, I think that you should have like maybe a weekly, and once a week, maybe on Wednesday, where y'all have like a open discussion about things that are wrong, that are right, things that improve. Just something just to keep the relationship still on course. But sometimes in the course of all this happening, you get lost in translation where he may feel unappreciative, and he may have feel a certain kind of way, but she may not know, but she may be tired from working and coming home. So the communication is not there. Something's not, the orb is stopped moving. So as long as that orb moving, it's constantly revealing what it really is. So no one can really say it's not working. Once it stopped moving, then it's stagnated. Once it's stagnated, then it starts to fall apart. Once it falls apart, it's hard to reconstruct. Then you don't know where it started or anything.
I think if you choose to be in a relationship, where the woman is making more money, I think that the two people should know what each other needs are. And if you know what each other needs are, then you should know what should be given in the relationship. I think the man, if you're with a woman that is making way more money than you, then you should know what her likes are. She needs you to go get the oil change. You should go get the oil change. She needs you to take care of the kids, you take care of the kids. You know, it's the little things that are so big in relationships when the woman is making more money, and the little thing turns into something so big, because she understands that you're not making as much money, but you still have her back. Still, you got her. You're letting her know that I got you, and one day I want to have you even more. Like I want to be able to do all of those things that you're doing for yourself for you, and you don't have to do them at all. Like I got your back. So I think that the woman just want to know that the man has her, she's protected, because that's all it is with a woman. Even if she is making more money, she still wants that protection. She still, because she feels some kind of way if she loses her job or if she's in a situation. It's a scary feeling on both ends. So she still wants to feel like you have her back. So it's the little things that count. So we're gonna read another comment. We're gonna get ready to close out.
How would a woman that makes more money approach dating when men she's attracted to are making less and are intimidated? What can I say about that? It just depends on where you live. Because like in Gainesville, Florida, it's been proven that women make more money than men. So I just think sometimes it just about what area you live in.
No, I don't think he means how does she find a buddy.
How would a
Comment to me,
Oh,
how
so
does she
sorry.
approach the business? She wants to date the guy. She makes more money than him, and he's like, oh, gee, I don't know. She's kind of high maintenance. I don't afford her. That kind of concern. Like how, what?
I don't think not making money an issue. I don't think that setting the whole thing up should approach it as let's do things that are no cost. Go to the park, do things like that. Just to do something totally something different.
It's real quick. You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's
let's go to
old.
Destin, Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I'm saying you can't approach it dead on. Like, I mean, I would. I mean, I don't know.
I disagree. And this is why I'm saying I disagree after Clinton broke it down. Because if you have a certain lifestyle, you want to keep that lifestyle. So then it kind of goes back to why do I need to dumb it down for you? And
You
like,
want a good man.
no, okay, and I get that. Like, I really, really, really get that. I'm only gonna mention one movie. Think like uh no, not Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey. Think like a man, act like a woman. Taraji and Michael Ealy. Taraji made more money than him. He just kept changing careers and stuff like that. But it, in a way, like they was out to eat one time, and she's like, "Okay, baby, bye." He pulls up, with the valet pulled up his car. It's a rinky dink, it's a hoopty, and she's kind of like anyway. What I'm trying to get to is why do you? That is going to become a problem. Going to the parks and stuff, that's going to be dismissed because if I'm accustomed to a certain lifestyle, I want that lifestyle. And what I mean by that is if I want to go out and spend $3,500 on a Gucci bag and I know my man can't afford it, then at some shape, form, or fashion, that becomes an issue.
But she wants to date the guys, but the guys are basically feeling intimidated and stuff like that. So she wants to know how, by her having some money, how can you date those guys without having an intimidation factor there?
Be open minded to stepping outside of your race. Being open minded to step outside your race.
So at some point, because you want to date, and it's hard to find guys to come in on that level as you, um, do you accept it? Do you accept like the guy's not making as much money? I think it has to be up to the individual, like to want to give it a chance. Like a lot of women have all of these, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Like she don't want you to do a whole bunch of things. So now you're knocking a whole lot of men off. Like,
But men are doing the same thing with women. And what I mean by that is,
no, I'm talking about the ones that's making a whole lot of money.
but
Like,
but with
because they can't stay in relationships. A lot of women that make a lot of money, they have an issue with keeping a man. Like it's an issue. So is it the man or is it the woman? Like,
but what I'm
the
saying,
woman, it's like it will be the man because when you got money like that, open the door for more options, for anything. And then you don't deal with a whole bunch of stuff that you had to deal with when you did have money. They didn't have money. So with that being said, like, I got money, I go do this, you do that. You want to keep playing the game, that's fine. But in your mind, you're thinking that something's gonna come better, but the fact remains is that money is just money. How
Yeah.
you feel is how you feel.
So you still gonna have issues regardless.
Regardless, yeah.
So you gotta know what you want to deal with and what you don't wanna deal with. So regardless of whether you have the money and you dating a guy, that don't make as much money as you, what are you willing to put up with? And you should know that going into the relationship, so you should actually get to know the person before just stepping all the way in. Because I think a lot of people dumb themselves down to the point where they get in these relationships and they already knew from the beginning that it wasn't gonna work. That's time. You don't put your time into this and you already knew in the beginning that it wasn't gonna work. And it's all because you just wanted a relationship so bad. And now you just may have missed your opportunity to be in a good relationship with somebody because you just wasted this time with this person you knew that wasn't gonna work in the first
Plus,
place.
that's the most dangerous man in the world to be messing with if you know you got a little bit of money. And that right there,
No,
you
I
can
think,
start melting.
I think the most dangerous man is a liar. That's the most dangerous.
Well, we got we gotta be a good life. So, I mean, with the imbalance, we're gonna go ahead and close out and we'll ask everyone of you give us a closing statement and we'll go ahead and get us out of here.
Go plan.
I feel like we need to raise our boys with a certain mindfulness that economics is kind of everything. Keep their education, keep them out of trouble, and they won't be having this conversation like. Until then, like, we can make it work regardless of income. And just love and respect each other.
Whatever you say after that. I do it. I do it. Thing that it just depends upon that relationship. Like I really do. I really think that it just depends upon that relationship and how the dynamics in that relationship works. And um, that's it. Because it just basically it goes back to me where sometimes I feel like we have to a certain extent, sugarcoat a man if the female does make more money. And I understand where you're coming from. But then I just kind of feel like you gotta just like be like, oh baby, you did this today. Oh great, thanks. But then a woman's not gonna get that if it was the other way around. She should. Like
It's also a relationship.
Yeah.
which and I'm okay, so that's another topic. But no, I just think like it's for each his own.
I feel that seeing how we're going to new technological things, new advances in pretty much medical and everything else, and with advancement, women going to different workplaces and other men being at home, we should recognize that the world isn't the place it was 5, 10, 15 years ago. We can't go into it seeing it and feel it from those same aspects. We can't have the same mindset. We can't have the same energy. We have to go into the thing as a new entity and see what it really is. That way, because if you go into something new, thinking old, you're never going to come out with nothing right. You have to go in and look at it being something bright and innovative and say, okay, this is what can come up. And then you start to see the fusion or the greatness that comes out of it. But if you don't have that mindset on trying to fix it or come up with some kind of resolve, it's going to always be a stagnating situation.
I just ask a question. Can I just ask? Oh, this is our- But are you basically going back to what the first comment about like it has to be because um the first one says because we are taught by tradition that a man should be the provider. Like, are you going back to that?
I'm saying some things that we did in the old, we can't have the same mindsets this present day. So even though things never change, there's nothing new under the sun, it's just the way it's been presented now is different. The way it's been perceived as well.
Would you not say that the majority of us having this conversation have discussed upon um, teaching African American youth how to recognize. So if we're going back that way, and even Clinton said at one point in time that this is this is what someone on this table couch said that this is what we know. A man, you have to honor a man and respect a man. So how do you change? I'm just asking. Or am I looking
You
at
have,
you
you have,
saying?
you have to have the neutral, you can't take that, I'm a man, I'm in control, I'm the dominant one in the relationship. You can't take that no more. If you see it that way, a lot of females now are making more money, they got their own this, they got their own that, they used to be independent. So you can't take that approach. You have to take it from you have to see their perspective and take a new perspective, put it together and let it come out to speed whatever it is. You can't go into something new with an old mindset of an old traditional aspects of how things were or what they were said from. But even though things are new under the sun, things are presented differently.
Okay, I believe these things should be addressed right out of the gate of the relationship, and you both come to understand. Because if not, the relationship will just be a recipe.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. The communication is gonna be right up the gate, and the communication will stay open for the entire duration. When people stop really communicating on point on, they get anything.
Um, so I kind of agree with the old tradition. I think we should take our old ways and put it into our like our new situation. I don't feel like my parents or their parents, because I watched my great grandma, my grandma, my mom. I don't think any of them had like bad situations. My great grandparents on both sides, so I got to see both, see the man and the woman. Both when it was how the man was working. I think what we're getting a lot away from in these traditional states is that the men aren't actually taking and guiding these boys. The woman isn't actually taking and guiding these girls because what you do, you gotta understand that your children are watching you. So whatever it is and how you're raising and treating your household, your kids are thinking that these things are okay. So they're watching you. So you gotta be leaders and guide them in the positions into what you want them to be. So if you want your boys to be head of the household and be providers, and that's what you want them to do, and take care of their family or whatever, then you guide and lead them to that position. And that's not just through your words, through showing. And as a woman, if you want your girl or your daughter to work and take care of the kids and cook and clean, whatever it is that you want your children to be, because I think all of them should be able to cook and clean and do certain stuff around the house. That's not a boy or a girl thing. Because at some point that boy should have his own before he gets into a family. And the girl, I feel like she should have her own. They should learn how to live independently first before they come and be into a relationship. I think each one of them should learn how to be 100 and learn themselves before they actually give themselves fully to one another so that they can come and be one, make it complete. So learn yourself and learn how to, if you're a woman, you learn how to be a woman. And moms, you should teach your daughters how to be daughters. You know, whatever it is you're doing, recognize that they are watching you. And a lot of things that you do, they're going to do also. As a man, know that your sons are watching you and your daughters too, because a woman knows how what she wants in a man because she watches her daughter and how you treat her. She's watching you. So we have to know these things so that it won't be this big imbalance. Because some imbalances are too big and they're too big to handle. That's why we have a lot of men and women that are having babies, and once they have the child, the relationship don't work because they don't know how to make it work because neither one of them were independent in the first place. So now they don't know how to make it together. So we got to start training and teaching our kids how to be um, man and woman in the house and know how to take care of the children and be providers, and so that the kids can see how traditional relationships are supposed to be. We can't take away how it's supposed to be. It doesn't make it right. that this world is showing us differently, it doesn't mean that it is right. We know that can be a balance. It's how you make it. So it's all in what you put in. So don't forget, put in a lot so that you can get something in return. So as we always say, at the end, stand for something or you will fall for anything. Thank you all.